The Spring Festival holiday has ushered in the Year of the Horse, specifically the Year of the Fire Horse, which only cycles back around every 60 years. Chinese communities worldwide look forward to this special season by enjoying time with their families, traveling, and relishing in traditions like flower arrangements, good luck letters, displays of fruit that represent luck and wealth, and the Lunar New Year lion dance to dispel evil spirits, cleanse negativity, and bring good luck. But the celebrations have now ignited global excitement and intercultural fascination. We begin with this report.
Here on the frozen grasslands of China's Inner Mongolia, hooves thunder across the snow as the Super League rides on.
In the American West, people and horses working together in open landscape. Trust is built through long hours together. Mutual awareness is key to safety and success.
Well, here in the UK, the horse represents honour and duty, discipline and tradition. Symbols you can see everywhere, from royal ceremonies and historic regiments to centuries of racing traditions and rural partnerships.
In Kokpar, riders use specially trained horses, strong, fast and fearless. Some attempt to score, some defend, just like rugby, but on horseback.
The Peruvian Paso is known around the world as one of the smoothest riding horses. Every step is like a graceful dance. For Peruvians, this is culture on horseback.
Herdsmen race into the Year of the Horse with courage in their hearts, momentum in their stride, and perseverance held tight in their reins.
To discuss this and more, let's bring in our guest from Beijing. Jin Yuchen is CEO of AlphaLink, a social network app. And how are you celebrating the holiday, and how are things looking there in Beijing?
Happy New Year, Mike. So I'm spending time with my family. You know, obviously this is a very important holiday for the Chinese people, and so this year people really, focus on happiness and entertainment. As well know, yesterday we all watched the New Year's Gala, which is a very important cultural event for the Chinese New Year.
It certainly is. A lot of eyeballs watching that. I wish there were as many watching the heat right now. Let me ask you about your link, AlphaLink, the social network app. Tell me how it works.
Yeah, so our goal is to basically connect people through this app. And today we're also utilizing a lot of the AI features, artificial intelligence features, to help us get that done. And obviously, here in China, the buzzword this year is embodied intelligence, basically the convergence of artificial intelligence and robotics. And, the technological development here in China is very fast-paced. Every year we're seeing new development coming out. And this year, obviously, with the development in robotics and artificial intelligence, we're seeing the combination of both artificial intelligence and, let's say, sensors and actuators, and a lot of exciting stuff happening here in China.
Well, the robots kind of stole the show in the Gala in a way, didn't they?
Absolutely, and that's basically what everyone's talking about these days. And there were at least 3 companies featured, many products featured in just one gala show, which is never seen before. And last year was just Unitree, but this year we have several companies, rolling out their latest products and latest models. And I don't know if you saw the performance of the robots. It was stunning.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was take your breath away kind of stuff. Hey, there's phrases like becoming Chinese, China maxing, spending Chinese New Year in China. These all trending among young Western users on international social media platforms. What can you tell us about this trend?
Absolutely. I had my fair share of hot water today. I'm just kidding. But this is one of the things, I guess, people on social media I guess, are doing basically. It's just really a way, I guess, Chinese lifestyle, or some of the things that Chinese people do are really trending on social media globally. I think this is really a great way. I mean, social media really broke down a lot of the barriers before. And it's a great, I would say, cultural exchange platform, allowing people to share their cultures. And obviously, China has 5,000 years of history, and it's really fascinating. And all these tech platforms, whether developed by Chinese companies or not, are really allowing people, especially the Chinese social media participants, to share their lifestyles with their global audience. And we Chinese are learning a lot from our from our friends from around the world. So it's a great, I would say, cultural exchange opportunity for everyone.
Let me ask you also about AI technology, because you brought it up. We've been talking about robots. Of course, DeepSeek popped out during the Spring Festival last year. We're seeing more advances this year. I mean, talk to us about these technologies. How are they going to change the landscape, do you think?
Absolutely. Last year we had the so-called DeepSeek moment, and this is really that was a very exciting moment, and it really it drew a lot of attention from both the capital markets to the tech space, and last year we obviously saw all these models really competing. I mean, obviously in a healthy competition, whether it's from China or from the U.S. or from other parts of the world. It's a healthy competition. Everyone, whether open source or not, are really out there trying to play their A game and really come out with the best model. And this year we have something new, right? I mean, just a little before. ByteDance came out with the CDance, which is it's an incredible model that allows producers to get videos, designed, I guess, in a much faster way. And obviously, I briefly used it. It was stunning, and I think it kind of showcased what video production would look like in the future at a fraction of the cost and with high quality and everything. And it's just one of the things that AI can do for us. And obviously, the potential is huge. And we're all very excited here in China, and China is a very significant participant in this space.
Jin Yuchen, thank you so much for your insights. We'll let you get back to some festivities with the family. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our conversation continues. To Canada we head, where a growing Chinese diaspora is infusing culture with business. I'm joined by Fisher Wang. He is the CEO and founder of Edo Media. So great of you to join us. It's a time when families obviously travel home to spend time and get together with one another. So let me ask you how you're celebrating the holiday.
Hi, Mike. Thank you for having me. So as many Chinese Canadians, we celebrate Lunar New Year here with family, friends, and especially for my firm, we recently held a Manitoba Chinese Business Gala, and the event is also celebrating the Lunar New Year with the local business and community leaders.
And so talk to me about that. Obviously, your company trying to strengthen these ties. Describe how that's gone for you.
Yes. So the Manitoba Chinese Business Gala is one of the largest Lunar New Year business and community events in Manitoba. It brings together entrepreneurs, professionals, community organizations, and government leaders to celebrate both culture and economy contributions to the Chinese Canadian community. And this year especially, we welcomed nearly 400 guests, including business leaders and performers and elected officials. And at the event, we features culture performances, business awards, and networking. It's really a reflection of how Chinese Canadian community is both culturally vibrant and economically engaged.
How would you describe the Chinese diaspora in Canada?
Yes, so it's the Spring Festival, and it's not just about the New Year. It's a symbolized for renewal, optimism, and connection. And no matter where Chinese community live, in the U.S., in Canada, or anywhere, those themes remain universal. It's interesting because even second-generation Chinese Canadian who grew up here still deeply connected with these traditions.
It's interesting, Fisher, I was just at a couple of galas in New York City celebrating the Chinese New Year. And to me, it's not just Chinese Americans in the audience, and I'm sure this is the same there. It's not just Chinese Canadians in the audience. And what you see are people coming in and actually embracing this culture. It's becoming much more multicultural cooperation, I think you would say. Can you describe, is that what you're seeing there as well?
Yes. At the MCBG, each year we see about 50-50. Half of the audiences are local Chinese community and business leaders. The other half is a mix of all other communities. And we see this blend more and more vibrant and multicultural over the years. It has really changed how the Lunar New Year image is engraved with the local community, you know, other than just food, other than just line dance, but it's really the culture, the businesses, how they react, how they prepare. I was impressed by walking into Costco 2 weeks back that they have all the Lunar New Year product at entrances where they used to stock TVs or other products. So I really feel like more like home now.
It's in an effort in many ways to build bridges, connections. And can you talk to me about what we're seeing there when you look at the geopolitical tensions that we're seeing all across the country and kind of this kind of embracing kind of nationalism, this kind of openness to building bridges, to understanding different cultures? It's really important, isn't it?
Yes. At the beginning, it is hard to introduce, especially to my clients and to the broader community, why we celebrate the Lunar New Year, what is Lunar New Year, and what's the meaning. Even the zodiac could be something that unfamiliar to the mainstream. And now, after we have this the business gala for 6 years, as well as all the businesses and communities and even different nationalities celebrate the Lunar New Year, it really becomes a festival that globally recognized.
Fisher Wang, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your insights.
Thank you so much, Mike.
We now take a look at how people are traveling to China to celebrate. This year, American teenagers have embarked on a cultural exchange trip, visiting cities like Shenzhen and Beijing to enjoy the festivities. CGTN's Huang Fei has this report.
Rolling dough, adding fillings, sealing dumplings. On the eve of Chinese New Year, it's a hands-on lesson in culture and teamwork.
A chef came over and showed us how to do it first and how to make it look cool.
It was fun, but I wasn't very good. We weren't very good at it. It was more just having fun with the mistakes. This is their first time, but it's our first time being here for Chinese New Year, so.
These student ambassadors are in Shenzhen to promote what they describe as pickleball diplomacy. Beyond the matches, they're diving into Spring Festival traditions.
Decades ago, it was ping pong that opened a chapter of friendship between China and the U.S., and now it's pickleball, a new sport, a new bridge. And you could say that dumplings are doing something similar. They're round, shaped like a ball, and in China, they symbolize wealth and togetherness.
Like the shape of the dumpling, like kind of a coin. Oh, togetherness. We were all making them together.
In 2023, Chinese President Xi Jinping announced that China would invite 50,000 young Americans to China for exchange and study over 5 years. This trip is part of that promise. Next stop, flower markets.
Flowers are a big deal for Chinese New Year, especially here in southern China. Families visit flower markets in the days leading up to the New Year to pick out bright colors and lucky meanings. And for American teens visiting here for the first time, this is a walk filled with surprises.
I learned that each flower has its own special significance. I think a large difference is Christmas in the US, it's cold. I mean, we're here, there's every color you could ever imagine. It's warm, it's sunny, it's nice. And I think it's polar opposites, but in a way they give the same meaning. You know, it's all about family, it's all about connections, and it's all about spending time with the ones you love most.
Watching the Spring Festival Gala is a New Year's Eve ritual across China. Families gathering around the TV to welcome the year together. In Shenzhen, the American pickleball players hosted a celebration of their own, with food, gifts, and plenty of talent.
Well, pickleball is a very small part of what we do. You know, people can have differences, different cultures, different beliefs, but it's finding the similarities and building bridges. And that's our mission with pickleball diplomacy, and we're honored 55 years later, watching how ping pong diplomacy brought the United States and China together. We're hopeful to be part of that too.
On New Year's Day, ancient customs come alive at this cultural heritage theme park.
Oh my, when the trapeze, when the kids were jumping through the hoops and doing flips, that was so crazy. They're so talented. I didn't even think they could get that high in the air. Honestly, it was just beautiful to watch. You saw so much culture and it really told a story about where we are. It made me have such a much deeper understanding of China and its culture, and I just love it here so much.
It's such a deeper cultural tradition. In the United States, you know, we generally stay up till midnight and watch the ball drop, and that can be a lot of fun. But here, there's so many traditions, and they're so deep and long running. It's such a connected experience that you definitely don't get in the United States. And it's been such a wonderful experience so far, and I'm so grateful to have been here.
Through sport, food, and shared experiences, connections are forming. Connections that could help strengthen ties between China and the U.S. Sometimes that's all it takes. A game, a meal, a walk, and an open mind. Wang, CGTN, Shenzhen.
To dive just a bit further, Ben Norton joins us now from Beijing. He's an investigative journalist and editor-in-chief of the Geopolitical Economy Report. Ben, so great to talk to you. I was just in Tacoma, Washington, where they were celebrating 55 years of ping pong diplomacy, and a lot of students from this high school, Lincoln High School, preparing to go to China, and we're seeing more of that, and I think it's great to see. I want to get your thoughts on that, and also, how are you celebrating the new year?
Yeah, this idea of person-to-person exchange is very important, and we even see, especially in Europe now, most people from European countries can come to China without a visa. It was recently announced for Canada as well. Maybe we'll see in the future if the US could be another possibility, but this kind of person-to-person exchange is very important because, you know, a lot of media outlets in the US and the West in general, often the reporting on China is very misleading. So when you come to China and see it with your own eyes, it can be very eye-opening and very rewarding. And, you know, how am I celebrating? Well, you know, last night I watched here in China the amazing Gala. And of course, people have probably seen in social media, some clips go viral. But what I found especially interesting is the unitary presentation of the incredible advances in robots that China has made in the past year, and comparing this show this week to the show last year. I mean, you can see that in just 1 year, they've made a huge stride. So there are a lot of very interesting things happening here technologically.
Yeah, the robots are everywhere. I was at a gala last week, robots everywhere there as well. Let me ask you about this. I mean, we heard the one kid talking about, you know, the ball drops, people sit around till midnight here in the West. It's different, though, there. I mean, how would you describe the differences of celebrating a New Year in the United States versus the Lunar New Year there in China, the Chinese New Year?
Yeah, well, in New Year in the U.S., oftentimes people don't necessarily get together with their family because they will do that for Thanksgiving or maybe for Christmas or Hanukkah, whereas in China, they don't really celebrate those holidays. So the New Year here is a very important event. I mean, it's the largest human migration in the world, and people travel to their home provinces. You know, if they're working in a big city like Beijing or Shanghai, they will go to their home province, they'll get together with their family, they'll cook together. I mean, it's very important to, you know, bring together your family, to, you know, engage in these traditions that are very important in Chinese culture. So if you think about the parallel in the US, you could say it's kind of the Chinese version of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you talk about that migration. I think 285 million people traveling across the country to celebrate just on Sunday alone. I mean, this is huge. What does it do for China's economy?
Yeah, well, it's extremely important, obviously, because when you have so many people traveling, they will be, you know, sometimes going to hotels or at least using different forms of transportation. So, for instance, I have taken the high-speed rail in China many times, although I usually avoid it this week because it's very hard to get tickets, because every single train all day long is completely full with people. And of course, it's not just the trains themselves, because you also have so many businesses that are built around the train stations. So it's people who go to restaurants and go buy things at the train stations and when they're traveling to see their family members and gifts. I mean, again, if you think about like the holiday season in the US and people traveling to see their family members and buying gifts, it's very similar here in China for the Chinese New Year.
You know, Ben, I was at an event not too long ago where the Chinese ambassador to the United States talked about the 5-year plans, and he said they were kind of like footprints in sand, kind of. You can look back and see the history of China, but you can also look forward and see where China's headed. And of course, the 15th 5-year plan has a lot in it about boosting consumption. And I want to ask you about if you're seeing any evidence of that there in China as you kind of walk around in terms of boosting consumption domestically.
Absolutely. This is a significant priority. China has referred to this policy as the dual circulation strategy, where China still maintains a very strong, very competitive export sector. In fact, in 2025, China exported $1.1 trillion worth of goods, and including many important high-tech goods. But at the same time, China recognizes that consumption and domestic demand needs to be the driver of future growth. So it has this dual circulation, maintaining export competitiveness while increasing domestic demand. And if you look at what the progress China has made, I mean, it's incredible. There's this idea that's a bit misleading that all of China's growth is in exports. It's actually not true. The bulk of the growth is driven by domestic consumption. But, you know, what we've seen is a big priority on this, especially as part of what China refers to as the Common Prosperity Campaign, because China has made enormous progress in the past several decades in economic development. China has lifted more than 800 million people out of poverty, which is roughly 3/4 of global extreme poverty reduction. Now, at the same time, now that China has eliminated extreme poverty, there still is inequality. So a significant priority in the 5-year plan is promoting common prosperity and having high-quality growth. So China is no longer trying to have double-digit GDP growth, but instead it's trying to focus on industrial upgrading, on developing very important high-tech sectors like AI and green energy and robots and quantum computing and these kinds of things, which provide really good, you know, service sector-oriented jobs that, you know, have a lot of stability, because innovation is something that you always need in the future. So China now has become the kind of world leader in most cutting-edge industries. In fact, Chinese universities are now responsible for producing more scientific papers than universities in any other country. So we really see it in the 15th 5-year plan starting this year that China has made its priority being the world leader in high-tech development, and we really can see that here in everyday life.
You know, Ben, I want to circle back to something you talked about because it's really important about the visas. Flight bookings to China surged more than 400% year on year and more than 200% in Europe. So we're seeing a dramatic increase in people coming to China because of this visa-free policy that you were describing. Talk to me about how important that is for China's economy and also this bridge that we've been talking about, you know, people-to-people exchanges.
Yeah, this is a huge development, especially in terms of China relations with Europe. And we've seen, for instance, just in the past 2 months, that multiple prominent European leaders have come to Beijing, including the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, including also the French President Emmanuel Macron, and also, it's not Europe, but Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney. So this shows how, you know, other Western leaders are really trying to diversify their foreign relations and improve their relations with China, especially with the geopolitical tensions with the US that not only China has, but also increasingly European countries and Canada. So they're, you know, seeking more partners to diversify their foreign policy. And a lot of European, you know, average people have been coming to China because, you know, you see in social media, there's so much interest, especially in China's technology. The entire world can now see these amazing things happening with high-speed rail and drone shows. We saw this also for the new year in places like Shenzhen and Hangzhou and other cities. You have these massive drone shows. It's incredible, where you have, you know, thousands of drones in the sky and they make these images with all these lights. It's incredible. So people see this kind of stuff on social media, and for Europeans, for almost all European countries, people can now come to China without applying for a visa. It's a very quick flight. It's now very convenient because It's now, all hotels in China now have to accept foreigners. It's very easy. All you have to do is install Alipay on your phone, and you can go on the metro or the bus, and all you do is scan a QR code. When you go and you buy something, everywhere you go, you scan a QR code. It's one of the easiest places now for a tourist to travel. You don't even need to go get cash because, I've been living in China for nearly 3 years, and I've never used cash. Everything's a QR code. So from a tourist perspective, it's actually a great place to visit. It's extremely safe. So it makes perfect sense why there's so much interest now.
Yeah, no cash, no credit cards. All you need is your phone. Ben, always a delight talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Mike Walter in Washington, D.C. Thank you for watching another edition of The Heat.